So this is the end of April again, and in the wake of the Hillsborough cover-up, which I've spoken about elsewhere, the Hillsborough cover-up, I'm doing a kind of little mini-series on my experience of the police. So this is Cops #3, as the Americans would say. So this is number 3 in that little series. Pardon me. These are all absolutely true stories about my experiences of the police. And I'm going to start, like I started the other ones, by saying the job of a police officer is impossible. So let us not have any doubt about that. We want to be able to ask them for directions, and then if a guy pops out of a bush with an AK-47, we expect them to be all, "You get down, sir," and be able to take him on. It's you're stretching a human being beyond endurance. So just bear in mind what we're asking them to do. And of all the governments, a Tory government is cutting back on police. Margaret Thatcher knew this. You cannot cut back on police when you're screwing everyone down for money. Margaret Thatcher realised this, and this Tory government hasn't yet realised it, but will soon. Britain may not do revolution, but we do fuck you on occasion. And when people are put under the hammer, they do stuff that they wouldn't do otherwise. I would just be very careful you don't stretch the normal policing availability beyond a thin blue line. You stuff will just be missed, just not be bothered with, and you're left with a legacy for quite a few years. People start to think not only that they can do stuff, but that if somebody does something to them, it's not worth calling the police, and that puts you in a very difficult position as a society. So this Cops #3 thing, this is a situation that occurred when we'd just had our second child. We got 2 daughters, and we just had our second child. So this situation is typical family situation when you've just had a second kid. You are knackered. You are absolutely flat knackered. We still hadn't finished the nursery or something, or whatever you want. I hadn't finished the room that the eldest was going to go in or something. There's a lot messing about, and we certainly didn't have a room for the young one. But that doesn't matter, because my belief is to take the young one and you put them in a cot in your bedroom as the parents. I have this tiny little theory I'll just expound, which is that when you're very old or very young, you have a kind of rhythm thing that you need to keep going. Your heart goes by a rhythm, everything else goes by a rhythm. It's really important that they get a metronome to go by. So these cot deaths and stuff, I'm not sure what causes them, but I'm certain that if when the baby's in a room with the parents, there is some kind of a metronome thing goes on that they get from the parents. Maybe they just hear you breathing in and out, I've got no idea. But I know that babies are very sensitive to that stuff. So that's what we did. For the first 6 months or more of both our children, they were in a small cot in our room. Right. And when I think of that size of that cot now, it's really funny. Anyway, so they were cute little girls, and not that they're not still cute, but they're a lot bigger. So one of them was feeding with mum in the back bedroom, and I was in the other room that we were using as a bedroom for the eldest at the time. The eldest being, would that be 1.5 years? She could walk, I think, so that sounds to me like she was maybe 2-ish. She might have been nearly 2. That sounds right. Sounds to me like coming up for 2 years old. Because she's able to get around on her own. And so she was watching she'd be around 2 years old. She was watching some Disney thing in the front room. DVD or something. So it's dark, it's wintry night. I don't know which side of winter, which side of December it was, which side of Christmas, but anyway. So, I'm knackered, asleep. I've got an underlying health condition that also makes me prone to fatigue. My spouse is there in the other back bedroom, and our little eldest, a couple of years old, is in the front room watching Disney. Happy family scene. Some little git comes along. Now, of course, I didn't know this at the time. But somebody comes along and catapults a rock into our front window. Now, at the time, we had a huge, big front window. And they catapulted a rock into it and smashed a hole in it. That rock, fortunately, did not penetrate through both panes of the double glazing. it went straight through the first pane, first thickness. It didn't go through the second, and even if it had, it would probably have been stopped at the heavy curtains. But that's not the point. Somebody saw our happy little family scene, and that somebody thought, what I want to really do here, what that scene really needs, is a fucking great rock through the window. Okay. So, it must have been a catapult, because the force was such you couldn't do that with an arm. It was a small stone. It's mass times acceleration. To get the same amount of energy with a small stone, you need high velocity. You can't get that velocity with throwing something. If you were a human just throwing something, you need a bigger rock. Okay? Okay. So it's a small rock at high speed, catapult. So, I hears this noise. And I hears our eldest say, Daddy, Daddy. I thought, what was that? So I get up and Sarah says, you know, there's some, check that out, will you? I said, yeah, sure. So it goes through. And nothing seems to be wrong, but our eldest is saying, Daddy, something made a bang, right? Okay, I thought, right, so I goes out the front, I looks round, and there's a smashed bit of window right there. I thought, oh, that's lovely. I had a quick look round, but I wasn't really willing to stray far. First, I'm not fully awake. Second, I ain't dressed for it. I don't have steel toe caps on. Third, how far am I going to stray from the house if somebody is kind of laying our house under attack, as it were, if we're under siege? No, I'm not going to stray far. I went as far as checking that, and I went as far as checking on the ground for stones. I had a torch. And there's a broken stone there. And it looked foreign. Our front yard doesn't have stones, little pebbles like that. They'd stolen the pebble from the pebbles on the place next door. It's common that people use that driveway for ammunition. And this is the odd thing, you find yourself on your own a lot when stuff happens to you like this. I said to my neighbour several times about this, how his drive was being used for ammunition, for thugs. And although he's a decent enough bloke, he never did anything about it. Not ever. Eventually something did happen about it. I'm told there was a problem with his hearing. Literally, this is the story I was told. This may actually be true. But all I'm saying is, at the time, you're left on your own. Okay? So, we call the police. Cut a long story short, it's kind of... You give a statement to the police sort of thing. You try to find out what's going on. Nothing gets anywhere. Somebody gave me a tip that... And it came from an unusual source, that it was a certain person that had done this. And I am given to believe that this person was a bit... I think it's fair to say they were off the normal scale. I don't mean they were autistic or anything. I mean, their behaviour was so normally nasty that that person would not be trusted in most normal situations. For example, you wouldn't trust them with a younger sibling. So this person obviously had some problems, but no matter what their problems, they needed their outlook fixed. I'm not going to go into where this goes, but I will say this. The thing the police said, which is where the police come into this, and this was not to be the only time I'd have a slight run-in with this particular officer. They actually said to me these words: someone might say, sir, that you were not adequately supervising your child. Right? What the man was saying was that some might say, I mean, I'm not saying it's me, sir. Oh, heaven forbid I would say it, sir. But some might say that leaving your child alone in the front room in your little house, which is what? 4 meters, 6 meters, 8 meters and 2.5 doors away. 3 doors away. Leaving your child in the front room with the curtains closed, with lights on, the doors locked, the windows shut, watching a Disney movie. There's a suggestion that inadequate supervision was involved in some little putting a rock through our window and disrupting our happy little family. And leaving us, of course, wondering when the next time's going to be. I didn't fix that window until I knew that that little shit was gone from the area. Now, if I ever knowingly see him again, I think that without provocation I'll get stuck in. If I'd had a gun at the time, a lethal weapon, if I had a lethal weapon and somebody did that, I would definitely attempt to kill them with it. Now, people will say, well, you'd definitely go to jail for that. I would definitely do whatever it was I had to do. If that included lethal treatment of somebody, I would definitely do it to stop that happening, and the fear of it happening, the fear of it being there every day. You cannot live like that. And you cannot move every time somebody is a twat to you or your family. So the fact is, you have a right to self-defense, and I would just have to take my chances with a group of my peers like everybody else. Nobody has a right to do that, and nobody as a cop should say to somebody who is effectively a victim, somebody tried to hurt my little kid, our little daughter of 2 years old, some git who was about 12 or 14 tried to breach our window and had that glass shattered enough. And had the curtains not been shut, if the curtains hadn't been shut, remember, they'd have been able to see our kids sitting on that chair. Do you think they wouldn't have aimed for them? Bullshit. We're talking about a little psychopathic prick. They hate happy families because they don't have one. Right? That is not my fault. I never knew that kid. I'm given to understand he lived down the road and round the corner. And for whatever reason, that kid decided we were a good target. Maybe it's because we were the Scottish guy and the black woman that live on a street. I don't know. But whatever the reason is, I don't actually care. The effect is the same. If I physically, knowingly meet that kid, he'll be about what? He'll be about 20 now. I will wring his neck. And I make no bones about it. So, the cop, the incident itself, we come back to the Hillsborough thing, it's the Watergate lesson, don't cover it up. What made the incident twice as bad was the police force face to us being presented being, you need to watch, sir, because perhaps you were not adequately supervising your child at the time. We had nothing to do with that incident, West Yorkshire Police. We had nothing to do with it. Some little tossy git had a weapon that he decided to deploy against our little 2-year-old. Now you might say he didn't know she was there. I put it to you, he was happy to take the risk. And that means he has to take whatever's coming. Whatever was coming to him, short of death, it wasn't enough. I understand that the system wants to be generous to him and be impartial. That's the system's job. My job as a father is to make absolutely 100% certain that there is no doubt that that thing, that ugly little thing that was outside attacking my house does not come back to attack it again. There is only one way to do that. So the system can be as polite as it likes. But don't come to me, system. Don't come to me, police, and tell me that we are not adequately supervising our child. As though, and that is how you're saying it, in the context of that attack on my family, it is as though we were somehow partly to blame. Fuck off. Right? Some little thing, some little creature decided he didn't like people who had happy families, and that little creature wanted to spread some of his shit around. And that's what they do. They just spread unhappiness. I am sorry, that thing was not happy. It's got nothing to do with us. And the police making it seem so, excuse my iPad, the police making it seem so is disgusting and abhorrent. Police officers have an impossible job. You just got to do your best to work to a high standard. And when you suggest that a parent is not looking after their child properly, and that's in the context of that incident, that's possibly something to do with it, you are doing your service a disservice, and you spit in the face of the public. Thank you for watching and listening.